So many of us are using sleep trackers these days, right? Smart bands, watches, all those apps on our phones. And they can be really helpful for improving our health. But it's so important to understand what's actually happening with your personal data behind the scenes. So let's just get right to the big question we're exploring today. While you're resting, is your personal data being put to work? Is it silently traveling to companies who might be profiting from it? Let's take a closer look at how that can happen. Now, I want to be really clear. Our goal here is not to scare you or make you want to throw your devices away. It's just to help you stay aware of how your information gets used so you can make choices that feel right for you and, stay safe out there. Okay, so let's dive in. First, we need to understand exactly what these devices are learning about you. The best way to think about it is like a super detailed digital health diary that's being written for you every single night. And this diary is incredibly detailed. It's not just tracking how long you slept. It knows the quality of that sleep, the exact timing of your REM, deep, and light cycles, even your heart rate and oxygen levels while you're unconscious. It's logging every little movement, every time you wake up. Piece by piece, all this information builds an amazingly specific profile of your health. So, once this really detailed profile is created, where does it actually go? I mean, the information doesn't just stay on your wrist or on your phone. It actually begins a silent journey. The whole process is actually pretty straightforward. It happens in about 3 steps. First, your device collects all that data. Second, the app on your phone syncs it up to the company's cloud servers. And third, and this is the part we're really going to focus on, from there it can be shared with all sorts of third parties. This is the point where you kind of lose track of where it's going. So who are these third parties? Well, your sleep patterns could be going to advertisers or data brokers. If you've ever linked your sleep app to other platforms, like a fitness app or maybe even an insurance app, the data can flow there too. A lot of apps also use outside tools to analyze how you're using their service, and some even have hidden trackers that send your info to other servers you've never even heard of. And this brings us to probably the most important question of all. Why does any of this even matter? Let's talk about the real-world impact this data sharing can actually have. This isn't just a what-if scenario. There was a case back in 2023 that gives us a really clear example of how this can happen, sometimes without the user having any idea. So what happened was a really popular sleep tracking app was found to be sending very sensitive user data. We're talking sleep patterns, heart rate data, to outside analytics companies. But here's the most concerning part. This was happening even for people who hadn't formally created an account. They weren't being clearly told this was happening, and there was no way for them to delete the data. So let's break down the risks. On one hand, you might just start seeing strangely specific ads for mattresses or sleep supplements and not know why. But in some cases, it could be more serious. It's possible that insurance companies could use this kind of data to judge your health risk. And of course, there's always the big one. If the company holding your data has a data breach, your personal health information could be exposed. Okay, now for the most important part of all of this, what you can actually do about it. The good news is, it's all about taking small, simple steps to take back some control and, well, sleep a little more safely. All right, tip number 1. When you're picking a device, try to find one that has an offline mode or that stores your data locally, right there on the device itself. Why does this matter? Well, if your information isn't automatically sent to the cloud, it can't be shared in the first place. Simple as that. Tip number 2 is to be really mindful of app permissions. Ask yourself, does my sleep tracking app really need to access my microphone or know my exact location? If an app is asking for permissions that just don't seem necessary for it to do its job, that's a really good reason to just pause and think twice. Okay, I know. Nobody enjoys reading the privacy policy, but it is important. You don't have to read every single word, but just take a minute to scan for key phrases, like data sharing, third parties, or advertising. Just understanding the basics of what you're agreeing to is a huge step. And finally, tip number 4. This one is so important. If you decide to stop using a tracker or an app, don't just delete it from your phone. You have to actually go into the settings and formally delete your account and all of your data. This is the only way to make sure your information isn't just left behind on some company's servers. All these tips really come down to one core principle that works for pretty much everything you do online. It's this: always stop, think, and verify. Before you download, before you say yes to a permission, just take that extra second. Really, the main takeaway is simple. Your sleep is deeply personal. It's a reflection of your health, your well-being. The goal is just to make sure that data serves you and doesn't just become a tool for someone else's business. Today's topic is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The goal is never to fear technology, but just to stay informed and to be cautious, because awareness really is protection. If you stay alert, you stay safe. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, stay aware, and please, if you found this helpful, consider sharing this information with your family and friends.